Beloved Father, Mother, God, in this moment and through this service, sacred service today, show us what it means in the here and now to experience the ascension from our old selves to new selves, old life to new life, lower realms to the truth of God, to the higher realms. Guide us and teach us experientially how to be the ascension of ourselves, to be the ascension to the remembrance of who we are. Father, Mother, God, remind us daily the world has no real value, but teach us how to hear that, feel that, know that, experience that as gracefully, peacefully as possible. As human beings, it frightens us to think that the things we see and experience aren't as real as we thought. Help us to be courageous, but also tether us to the joy of the end game, the end result, which is oneness with love, which is a return to bliss. This will make our experience all the more graceful and peaceful, and one that we can share with others energetically through our presence, through our confidence, a knowing that all is well, all is in God's hands, and they can feel that from us so that we can ease their fears as well. And so it is.
This selection is from White Eagle. It serves every soul to look for the love and beauty in all things. There's always something beautiful to be found if you'll just look for it. Concentrate on beauty. The positive, loving attitude towards life and people is helping you to perceive this divine presence. It's helping you to put in operation the divine magic, which heals. Withhold judgment and criticism. The human way is to judge in haste the actions of others. The divine way is to remain quiet and loving. We are here on earth to manifest divinity. We are here to remember how much we ourselves need forgiveness. So forgive freely. To love is to be tolerant towards all happenings in daily life. Patience, thoughtfulness, and kindness, all these qualities are contained in the word love. And so it is. And now it's time for our mission statement. You can find this in the white sheets in your seat backs. Okay, together we say, the global center for Christ consciousness is a spiritual center for students and masters on the spiritual path. We are dedicated to awakening the inner Christ and to creating a world of love, peace, joy, and abundance. It's so good.
Wonderful, thank you. As you center within to the idea of what to share as your request for what to cover today and share today as our primary topics. What's going on in your life or the lives of people around you that you'd like to help them more if you had different feedback or more feedback on a topic? Or, like I said, for yourself, what do you want me to talk about today?
Regret. Dysfunctional parents.
Spiritual warfare.
Hold on. After dysfunctional parents, spiritual warfare.
Struggle.
Preferences.
Okay, one sec.
Fear.
Hold on. After preferences, there was what was struggle? No, we did. Okay, what else was here in this part?
Fear.
Okay.
Non-terrestrial family disclosure.
I can't even spell that. Somewhere there was atonement, and what else?
Serenity.
Inner joy.
Divine love.
Okay, hold on one sec. Yes? Say again? What? You know, it'd be easier if I asked what you didn't want me to talk about. I mean, really, it would have been easier to just knock off a few things and just say everything else on the planet. That's the longest list we've ever had, and I mean, I'm serious, like 15, 20 items. What? What? Yeah, no pressure, right? Man, I'm feeling stressed. And there's some that have been emailed in ahead of time, and so there's a post-it here telling me to add this to what you've asked about. You know, and there's a part of me that's like, hey, you know, no problem. I mean, God's got it covered. There's another part that just thinks, oh my God, this is hilarious. Oy vey. Wow. All the names of all the things we could bring up. And please, even if you didn't name something, just say it quietly in your heart. Put it in the room. And it'll be woven in somehow. We all have to trust that God's voice speaks to me all through the day. I need to practice hearing it, listening, not by trying to hear it, working to hear it. It's when we relax stressors, when we relax all those, so many things you brought up, struggles and fears, when we relax that, it's an interesting thing because all of a sudden the veil's thin and we can hear more clearly guidance. Edgar Cayce once said, you could meditate and get an answer to any question could be given, whether it's lost keys or past lifetimes. Anything could come to you through just, and he doesn't just mean like some sort of complex, sublime form of meditation. Just dropping the thinking, the working, that churning, that unsettled mind. But there's all kinds of symbolism to that. When I let my mind go, the one that's working, trying to struggle and figure things out, then God's mind can activate. So it's not like a secret per se. It's just what they call getting out of the way. It's another way of saying get out of the way. And we have what we call our journey home. And I often use the body as a reference to that journey home. We think of it as lifetimes and learning and lessons and growth and healing and temples we go to throughout various lifetimes and revisiting those temples in this lifetime, going back, going to sacred sites and all these complexities, a little ayahuasca and a little meditation, all these workshops, all of these things, interestingly enough, name any of them, and they're all actually right here. Anything you've ever done is symbolized in one of your chakras. Meditation with God means you're up here communing with God. God in the heavens, Moses going up the mountain to receive the 2 tablets, which is your right and left side of your brain, to see the face of God, in the burning bush, which is your hair. So the fire, it's right in here. It's in the center of your brain, as Yogananda describes it. So I'm not saying that there wasn't a Moses, that he didn't walk up the mountain. What I'm saying is whatever we're doing is also a metaphor of the inside. You can't be invited up the mountain to meet God if you were not finding yourself worthy inside. By the same token, the many challenges and tests of life out here, struggles as you put it, as well as achieving serenity and inner joy and so on, all those are mirroring how you're doing inside. New blossoms outside on the trees, wow. Rainbows, wow. But it's also mirroring somehow you felt you deserved that today. You can't have the rainbow, or when one of you used magical miracles. You can't have anything good without believing you deserve it. I don't mean in an arrogant sense, the entitled, I deserve it. I'm talking about if beautiful things are happening, you've done good work. It isn't God found favor in you above your neighbors. It's just good work. When challenging things are happening, that is work that you had done but didn't pass your test quite well. So you're going back over the test again. See, that's all. It's understanding the purpose to life's tests. To really like sitting back and going, oh, I get it. Rather than, I can't take it, I'm being dragged here, I'm being dragged there, forced here, and being a victim of life. So human beings have to really come to a place of realizing it's all within us. I mean, we've heard those words, but people really didn't get it. It is not just kind of within us. It is within us. Nothing can be outside that isn't inside. So new love, new romance, that's your emotional chakra doing something. Physical cravings, it's your root chakra doing something. Wanting to change your diet is still root chakra, wanting to do something. Wanting to study new material, your intellectual chakra. Wanting to practice love and forgiveness. Where did that come from? Well, I read a book and it talked about love and forgiveness. Really loved the book. The book is in here. You're learning about your heart, love and forgiveness. You can say I did a meditation and the teacher was, they changed their name to Compassion. His name was, once Joy on the Fritz, and then he changed it to, Compassion. He's a beautiful embodiment. He's just always smiles, this teacher of mine, and he bows. He's teaching you compassion, but couldn't do that without you having already decided, I'm ready to learn compassion. So the teachers, we've heard it said, when you're ready, the teacher appears. Right. That's exactly right. Not just kind of a cool bumper sticker. It's absolutely true. It's also true that when you're ready, a psycho appears that you're dating. All of it's true. Everything outside is a metaphor, is a mirror of the inside. And human beings can talk about God. Let's use the word, not God, let's use the word higher self. People that sometimes don't want to use the word God, they're more commonly going to use higher self. Have you ever noticed that? Okay, cool. But it's interesting because they'll say your higher self and they'll think we're talking about these chakras. Metaphorically, I'm rising, I'm getting information from my higher self. No, this isn't called your higher self. This is God in the highest. Your higher self is anything higher than your physical self. Your astral self is it's higher than your body. You see? Any chakra, every chakra has a body corresponding to it. Your divine body, your astral body, etc., physical body, etheric body. But when you say my higher self, when you pray to get information from your higher self, you're getting it mostly from here, if it is what you know to be truly your higher self. What people mean when they say it, the books, the teachers, they'll say, let's get in contact with our higher self. I would be in the room and I would just smile knowing they're thinking they're talking about this, and they're not. It is God or it isn't. Your higher self is your soul, which is a good thing to get information from. When you read the Akashic records, you're reading this. When you access your soul's purpose, higher and higher being, and oh my God, this joy that comes from being in touch with my real self, really what you're talking about is your soul. There is more than your soul. And the reason people can't talk about God is because they're still either arrogant or wounded or religious wounds or whatever it is. So they're afraid to actually go all the way back to God. So they'll think they're talking about God, but calling it their higher self. There's motivational teachings, positive thinkers that will say, no, God is just your higher self. No, it isn't. Trust me, there's something higher than you. Even your soul, which is beautiful. Your soul. I mean, there's the human. I can't even not make a face when I say that. There's the human self. This is like, really? You think you're wonderful? You can't find your car keys. You've cheated on half of your partners and vice versa. So this is your human self. And you're constantly getting older and having new aches and pains. That's what you think is wonderful? God, there's got to be more than that. Thank God there is. And I found it. It's right here. This human self can't remember things when it's trying to remember them. What was the name of that movie again? And it's a divine being stuck in a body going, I just can't remember the name of that movie. Or, my wife, what's her name again? You could get yourself into a lot of trouble being a human who can't know anything. God knows. But my human self, what is going on with this thing? It can't remember. When it's time to remember, when I need to remember, it can't recall properly. And when it recalls, it's recalling wounds more than glories and so on. Now, that said, that's the human self. Guess what? Your soul is different. Your soul remembers everything. Your soul is the location of your flight recorder, known as your Akashic records. Your personal flight recorder, and it's also the access point to everyone's. The book of life in the Bible. The book of life. The book called the Akashic Records, but Akashic Records. It's right here in your own soul. Wow. How do I access that? You have to be of the consciousness of the heart by growing up higher in consciousness, and all of a sudden you realize creativity comes to me more effortlessly when I'm in my heart, when I'm in my soul, when I'm in a state of love. I tend to forget and forgive more often. My human self refuses to let anything go. But when I rise in consciousness, not by any accident, not by any specific herb, no nutritional supplements go, oh, they're going to put it, trust me, it'll be on the shelf anytime now at your local granola stores, and your health stores, heart chakra food, guaranteed to put you in your heart. No, it isn't. You can't storm the gates of heaven. You can't force heart chakra consciousness. You're there or you're not. Whatever the chakra is that you resonate with, you're there or you're not. You can't have my heart chakra. I can't have yours. You can't have your astral experiences that you're not ready for. You can't have physical experiences you're not ready for. Everything is relative. What consciousness are you? Root, then that's what's happening. You're most activated here. Navel, then you're most activated here. Where are you mostly coming from? What occupies your consciousness most? And that'll tell you which chakra. Even favoring a certain color, really loving like a gem tone version, jewel tone version of like a red or an orange, beautiful. It's great. And it shows that you're working on being grounded and passionate. Love it. Other people are like, oh no, man, I'm purple and violet. That's beautiful. It doesn't mean you're divine because the chakras have a microcosm and a macrocosm meaning. On a day-to-day level, you can say, I feel my third eye opening. It doesn't mean you're now sublime, samadhi, you're one with God and never coming back. It's just right now that's what's happening. But where are you most of the time? Not one instance of meditation where you felt your crown open. Where are you generally? And it's neither good nor bad. It's just where you are. The red and the orange is not bad. You go and get your aura photo in town somewhere here, in Sedona. And you're like, they show you, oh, look, red and orange. You're like, oh, my friends are purple, man. And I can't believe I'm red and orange. Listen, there's good and, it's how you take it. It's all about your interpretation. Yeah, your friends are really beautiful. They got purple aura and it's sublime and beautiful. And it means there's something happening really beautiful for them at this time. That's great. But they're not a great date. You need some red and orange if you want to have a good date. I mean, come on. Do you want to sit there and be with each other? Then you don't need them in the room. Just be. But if you want to date, then you be needing some red and orange, man. Anyway. So human beings are, higher self. What higher self? This is higher, true. But why don't we also go from lower self to higher self to God? Why do we have to think higher self is it? By definition, anatomically, there's something higher than my soul. Higher. This is my true I am divine presence. This is the kingdom of heaven that Jesus says is within you. It doesn't mean literally ears and hair and eyes are your kingdom of heaven. It means metaphorically, the Trinity of God is symbolized in your upper 3 chakras. Okay, well, how do I get that? Atonement, some of the words you guys, used. How do I get that? The atonement and magical miracles and all that up here. You can't storm it. It's the more you heal, honestly, the more you heal your past and the more you practice love and forgiveness for yourself and others, the Kundalini starts moving on itself, it just organically. You don't want to be forcing the Kundalini energy because, and there's all kinds of reasons not to. You can see some of them, they're called Kundalini casualties. They're people who lose their mind a bit. They become overwhelmed, their nervous system, they blow their nervous system out. It can affect the brain, the mind, clarity, but also anxiety disorders. You don't just hear about this thing, Kundalini. Well, I got to go for that. And I always get the picture. It's almost like you're starting a Harley, Kundalini. Let's go Kundalini. And just force the Kundalini. It's not healthy, but it's also not real. Wait. Let it rise like a thermometer. As the temperature rises, it rises. You don't sit there and try to mentally force a thermometer to rise. Doesn't make sense. It is what it is. Whatever the temperature is, it is. And the Kundalini is a lot like that. What am I ready to experience? And there's a microcosm and a macro. Macro means the big picture. Micro means the detailed picture. So you could say, when somebody says the crown symbolizes God, it does. The root, the physical, the material world, true. However, in a more detailed perspective, the crown is not God. What man knows to be God is now here. In other words, to know God, we have to first get in touch with our heart, our version of God. But there's still something higher. But mankind doesn't have an easy time being prepared, ready, awake enough to know God in the highest. Hence the reason why only one could enter the Holy of Holies in Israel, right? Only one. It's the few. The way is narrow, Jesus himself said, and only the few. But he reiterates and reinterprets that in A Course in Miracles. The truth is, there is no way that we're already home. We're still in God somewhere, but we're dreaming we're here. And then because we're here, we're unworthy to know God. And because we're unworthy, the way is narrow. But watch the metaphor. The way is narrow. The way we live is torso width. And this is how we live every day. Very broad, and this is our day-to-day life. However, to reach God, which is found where again? Up here. Look what's going to happen to the body. The way is narrow. So Jesus is even using the metaphor of the body as, which by the way, the temple, in Jerusalem was modeled after the body so that everybody could see the metaphor. Everybody could walk into the temple, experience certain things within the temple in Jerusalem, people that were cleansed and all, but then the way is narrowed. Only the high priest could go into the Holy of Holies. But at Jesus' crucifixion, the Holy of Holies, the fabric, the curtain in front of it, blocking you from meeting God, got torn open. So what does that mean? When Jesus is crucified, all of a sudden the veil is ripped open. It's symbolic of now everybody can reach God. Everybody can get back to God. Before, only the few. So Jesus is breaking the rules. He's saying, let's stop the old school technique. Let's allow everybody access to God. How is that not cool? Which is why some people refer to him as a savior. That's one of the many reasons for that term. All of a sudden, we have access to God. Now, the good news, the practical news, it means anybody watching this, you can like what you're hearing, not like what you're hearing. You can condemn what I'm saying, or you can love it. It won't change the fact that you are now worthy to reach God. That changed. And it changed for reasons I just metaphorically or symbolically shared. Everybody, even somebody that hates what they're hearing here, even somebody that hates their neighbor, hates politically, hates, medical association. But it's the forgiveness of that which you hated that will allow you to get to that place that used to be a curtain. The curtain isn't there anymore, but there's still someone guarding this spot here. And it's simply a person that checks, when you check in, they do a scan, and if they find hatred, you can't go further. That's all. There's not a curtain that says you can't enter. Now you can, but it is subject to your level of resentments. You still are bearing some wounds. Jesus saying, do not come to God with your resentments. Split. Go back and work on them. What that means is when you come to the temple, when you come to the veil, the spot where the veil was, when you come to the Holy of Holies, approach God, the altar, hold it. You still have some stuff going on. You're not in the state of God, so don't try to enter the state of God. Turn around, go back, and do some self-inventory, do some tracking, do some personal forgiveness or whatever, then come back. Humans think, well, I'm just going to tell God to make the forgiveness happen. And God's going, no habla inglés, man. No comprende. I don't even know what you're talking about. I want you to fix some relationship in my life. And God's going, okay, I'm good with it. How are you doing? Well, no, I'm doing badly, but I want you to fix it. Fix what? I got it. I'm feeling good with the person. You're the one with the issue. Go back and work on this. So there are no shortcuts in that sense, in that particular context. So in some traditions, like the Far East, you'll hear the concept of Shiva in the crown, because in one sense, God is here, human beings are down here. In another sense, you could say technically, no, it's really God as you know it is here, until you're ready to rise and know God as God is, not as you perceive it to be. If it's our perceptions of God, it's still good because you're here. You're at a soul level, but you're not quite all the way home. So we can say that in one sense, there's this concept of Shiva and Shakti down here in the root. And when it's believed that when you start reaching certain levels of consciousness, something stirs in Shakti and she begins to rise. It's called Kundalini, and she begins to rise. Kundalini is a metaphor of you rising in consciousness. It should not be thought to be a technique of something you force to change your consciousness, and that's the fine line. You don't raise the Kundalini to gain the consciousness. You get the consciousness that invites Kundalini to rise. It's like irresistible. Kundalini's going, no, I know you. No, but I'm different now. I'm practicing forgiveness. And she's like, ooh, I like that. Let me rise to find you, to meet you. So Kundalini rises. Shakti rises and joins with her beloved in an alchemical marriage up here. It's beautiful. And then there's this fusion of what was duality, masculine, feminine, so on and so on. There's this idea of time and space. So science calls time and space, they call this thing time and space. But in Hinduism, they already understood it. It was called Shiva and Shakti, or Shakti and Shiva. And then somebody else calls it something else, chakras and whatever. But it's interesting because it's the same. What we thought were just called gods are actually laws of the universe, universal laws, like time and space. So it's really beautiful if you think about it. But Shiva and Shakti have this alchemical marriage here. When that's happening, you are reaching a certain level of awakening, and it feels like oneness. It's beautiful, but you almost never remain there, interestingly enough. All this work, spiritual work, and you're lucky enough to have this Kundalini rising. You don't need Kundalini rising. You don't get to the other side, and they say, welcome. Apparently, you've done a lot of work on yourself, so you're going to be able to enter the kingdom of heaven. Come on in. Wait. I'm sorry, did you have Kundalini rising? No? Oh, I'm sorry. But we have some beautiful parting gifts, George. And off to earth you go again because you didn't have Kundalini rising. Let me tell you, it does not matter. You don't need to have had beautiful ayahuasca journeys. You don't need to have had Kundalini rising. You don't need to have felt the double petal lotus in your third eye sprout open. All you need is to not be carrying any more hate or resentments. They don't care. They don't go, well, no, we need the phenomena. Did you have a purple aura? Show us the photo from the aura store. They do not. I swear to you. I swear to you. Call me on it when you get to the other side if I'm wrong. They do not do that. It's all about love and releasing the opposite. It's just letting that stuff go. Because your nervous system might not have been able to handle the Kundalini manifesting. You might not have had the sensitivity to know when it was. So that doesn't matter. What's real is what they find in your soul. You're clean or not. And when you leave no shadow, when the light of God, when you get this high up and the light of God shines on you, called Judgment Day, you rise to this level and the light shines. When you don't cast a shadow, you organically move into oneness with God. Casting a shadow means I'm still carrying some stuff. That makes me wicked and bad? No. It just means I still identify with being kind of human here and there. Still got some issues, it could resentments towards people, but it could also be erroneous beliefs about myself, that I'm flawed, I'm unlovable, whatever it happens to be. Those are still judgments. So the idea of releasing judgments on ourselves or others, that's what's got to happen, releasing all the judgments. So at some point, it's the father-mother aspect, and it's masculine, feminine, it's right, left, this concept. Shakti, Shiva, it's the feminine, masculine, it's the right brain, the left brain, and so on and so on. Pranayama breathing, it activates Ida and Pingala, which, are the two sides of the serpents when you see caduceus. And something's activating. I'm awakening. I feel love for the world. That may not feel like energetic to you because you might not be sensitive to that. Who cares? But what's happening is when you grow in consciousness, I promise you, the Kundalini's moving. Maybe it's a 2% volume level, but it is moving. It can't not. Because when I'm growing and I'm meditating, I'm activating Shiva, God, the father aspect of God, let's call it, metaphorically. I'm awakening that part, whether it's actually in here or whether it's up here, whichever it happens to be for the person in the moment. When Shiva says, because Shiva will say, I have an idea. When Shiva starts to hear the voice of God in the highest, because Shiva's not Father, God, Mother, God. Shiva's just a God. So when Shiva hears, it's a creator God. So when Shiva hears inspiration and Shiva surrenders to God, Shiva's like, oh my God, I got to share this with somebody. Who's it going to share it with? Hey, Shakti, can you feel what I'm feeling? I'm feeling awake. I feel alive. And I have an idea. And Shakti, when she hears that Shiva within you has an idea, she starts dancing and moving. What does it mean? Dancing and moving. Because what was atomic waves starts to become atomic particles. The waves that were like just kind of being, suddenly Shiva goes, oh, I have a new insight coming to me. The God within you, Shiva-like part of you, says, I have new insights. When that happens, Shakti wants to be involved. Shakti says, well, I want to dance the dance with you, my beloved. The feminine part of you wants to dance with the masculine part and vice versa. So Shakti starts, just kind of digging this, and she starts moving. She's rising to meet her beloved in an alchemical wedding. But at the same time, when she starts moving, she represents energy. But atomic waves become atomic particles, which becomes matter as we know it. So Shakti is like the Divine Mother materializing, right? So that's what's really happening. We call it the Holy Spirit. The Divine Mother is what manifests the whole world. But before there's a podium, before there's a body, something had to materialize. So science says when there's somebody witnessing atomic waves, they solidify into atomic particles and become matter, which means matter has to have been created by somebody believing in it. It has to have an observer for it to turn from waves to particles, which means becoming materialized. And materialized means motherized, materized. So Shakti is behind all matter. Shakti is the presence of the Divine Mother materializing. It's so beautiful. But she's materializing your beliefs. And if your beliefs are judgments on yourselves or others, that's what she's going to show you. And then we plead to God, God, fix this problem. God's going, no, but that's you. You change you and it would change. No, I don't want to hear that. I want you, God, somewhere up in the clouds, to fix this thing and change its materialization, change its form. And that's why so many people find prayers not seemingly answered, because we're telling God what to do. And God's going, no. Oh, now I have issues with God. Yeah, you do. And you think they're justified because God doesn't show up to fix your children when they're sick and fix your job when you lose it. But it's because God's saying, you're still not understanding. What you're struggling with is a reflection of yourself. Choose again. Change your consciousness and it would change form. It has to, because Shakti can only materialize what is behind it. The calling of Shiva, which is God in you. She's just doing what she's told, so to speak. So as just a little more, just a tad more to finish up on this concept of Kundalini, don't buy into the things that tell you you need to make your Kundalini rise. Be careful what you ask for, because Kundalini has this tendency. Kundalini comes from Kundal or Kunda. It has various root words to it, but Kundal means like coil. So Kundalini is coiled at the base of the spine. And there's something that science is struggling to figure out, but it's called a Kunda gland. And that's near the tailbone, sacrum tailbone area. So when we start awakening, the tailbone starts pumping. If you know craniosacral work, you'll understand it's included in that. So it starts pumping and moving, becoming activated, because Shakti's going, whoa, something's happening. This person is awakening, they're meditating, or God, there's a holiness that has come into their life, forgiveness or whatever it is. Wow, miracles, it's beautiful. So she starts dancing because she has to materialize it. And some people think energy is spirit, matter is the material world. No, energy is part of the illusion of the material world. There is something higher than what we think to be invisible energy. There's visible and invisible, which is still the material world, parts you can't see, like molecular structures or atoms or subatomic particles and so on. Just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're real. There's something behind even the invisible that is the presence of God. And it's pure light. It's neither matter nor visible nor invisible. It's beyond that. So even the energy, we could say that Shakti is chi. She's prana, right? She's energy. But she's also the materialization of the energy. So we start to realize, well, the Kundalini rising, it's something beautiful about this. And it is. It's very beautiful. But you end up in this concept of Devi, it's like divine. Durga, like the word divine. These various names for the Divine Mother are kind of even sound like it sometimes, Devi and divine. So the Divine Mother is the Holy Spirit. Shakti is one expression of the Divine Mother. Saraswati, you can call it a pantheon of gods or goddesses, but listen, the whole universe is really the Divine Mother, and we just split it into names. Kuan Yin or this or that, they're all the Divine Mother. The Divine Mother is what formulates your body. We can give it a creator God did this when the universe was being created, and another creator God was in charge of a certain race of people. I know all that, but it doesn't matter because all of them answer to the Divine Mother. So matter, all the universe is the womb of the mother. She's in charge. And it's sad that religions and people and philosophies kind of switched everything over to being run by the masculine, and it isn't. And I'm not being feminist or patriarch. I don't need to be. It's just the truth. Everything was originally talked about as being the mother behind it all. She gives birth to the Christ in us. We have it in us, but she gives birth to it and brings it to maturity. The mother is in charge of all this. Now, even Kali, Kali, crazy Kali with, the necklace of heads and, bowls of blood. I would like to I want to commune with Kali. Who says that? She's just like, crazy as can be and blood pour, But Kali is also derived from that word Kundalini or vice versa. So Kali is saying, if you could get her to calm down enough to talk to her, she would say to you, here's what I'm really doing. When it says that I'm fierce and I'm taking heads, what I'm doing is removing your memory, your head, of each of your lifetimes. So my necklace of heads means I have all of your former lifetimes, because when Kundalini's rising, it clears not only your chakras, the space between your chakras, everything found in each center. And the blood that she's got a bowl of, and she's got blood hanging from her mouth. What she's saying is, I'm drinking the blood, which is the pain from your past lives. So she's actually cleansing you, clearing you. Why is she made fierce then? Because you don't want to be cleansed. The reason she looks fierce is because you have an ego and you want to control everything. So she's going to look fierce, like she's taking everything from you, but she couldn't be rising if you didn't call on her, if you weren't ready to let go of some things. When you start complaining and filing reports to God about what Kali's doing to you, you're a hypocrite, because you're saying, I want to grow, but I don't want to let go of anything. You see? So it's very interesting if you think about it. I hope that's not too much information and anyone. Okay, good. Thank you. So this is like, I get it. The gods and goddesses of Olympus, of any place, Shambhala, any place ever talked about in mythologies, they're all right here. Kali is within me. Durga is within me. Deva is within me. As is Zeus, Odin, this, that, and the other. All of these concepts are within me. And I need to get on board and realize my spiritual journey is a journey within myself. And the Kundalini is a symbol of that rising. Now, that's Ida and Pingala. And they rise up here and they join as Shakti and Shiva, each one of them being in charge of one half of the serpent's rising. But there's a central channel called Sushumna. And that's the one that is non-dualistic. That's the one that I call the Christ channel. Here is the masculine feminine, and people think that's all, man, I want to be into the divine feminine. That means you're kind of like this. Here's my Kundalini. Or hyper-masculine. Here's my Kundalini rising. That doesn't sound cool. So this looks really cool. Yes, much more balanced. That's one step. First, you're going to lean towards being male or female, hyper-male or female. Then you're going to eventually come to a nice balance of male and female. But you're not done yet, because in this channel, there is no male or female. That's the Christ channel. And that's when Shiva and Shakti marry in an alchemical marriage up in my mind. And it's in the book of Revelation as well. The bride is given to the bridegroom. It's an alchemical marriage described in Revelation. In any case, this awakening happens, and all of a sudden, the book of Revelation is talking about a new Jerusalem, which means a new version of consciousness comes to the earth, where we live in a higher dimensional experience and reality. And we're living that. Now, who's going to make that happen? God's going to go, well, I don't know if you guys are ready, but here it comes. Boom! The New Jerusalem lands on the earth, splatters like a sci-fi movie, crushes all the cities that it lands on. No, it's a frequency. It's a dimensionality. And we don't get the New Jerusalem without us being prepared for the New Jerusalem. We have to be in the consciousness of it for it to arrive. Does that make sense? Which is kind of a drag, because we'd like it just to arrive. I mean, we have to work, yes. But why? It's so much work. It's only work because we think we're unworthy and we put all these obstacles to have to work on. Just keep loving the hell out of everything to where there's no hell. Then you wouldn't have any challenges getting to the New Jerusalem. And in that New Jerusalem experience, oh my goodness, and now there will be no sun and moon to light. Everything will just be lit. What does that mean? You won't need the sun to light the earth. we'll be walking in the light. Mary Magdalene is described as having lived out the rest of her years in the Pyrenees Mountains, this honeycombed mountain range in south of France. But it's all dark in there, and they would say this is trippy. Like, how did this woman, and she did, live out her years in the Pyrenees and in these catacombed caves that are like, they are considered probably to be the deepest, longest catacomb of caves on the planet. How did she live in there without light? Because they said she never needed light. When you activate this, you're lit all the time. You're awake. So the path you walk is lit before you. You don't need the sun. You don't need a torch. But also, as Jesus said, I have food you know not of. So you don't even need nutrients because you are in remembrance. You're in a state of remembrance. There's no need, no pushing, no pulling, no grasping, no more challenges. I don't need to work on forgiving something because when you get to a high enough level of consciousness, you can't imagine not forgiving something. You can't even imagine, I can't even remember it needing forgiven. You follow? It's not there. And that's really your best sign of growth. It isn't, I'm feeling Kundalini. It's, I'm feeling peace when I think about that person. That's better, more important than any other kinds of surges and, all this cool stuff happening. Gold crown, purple aura, and yeah, that's all really fun. But I learned the hard way that, and we all have to go through the same kind of epiphany here, and that is the rude awakening here. And that is that when people are talking gold crown and purple aura, and then they cheat on you, backstab you, gossip about you, you realize, you know what? I don't care about purple auras anymore. I want integrity. I just want the real deal. Yeah, but this person, oh my God, they have a golden energy, a light around their head. Yeah, and a knife in my back. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear all the cool special effects. I want to know the real. How are they in here? And in here means I might still light up a smoke. It might mean I still cuss once in a while, but at least I know and I'm honest about it. I don't do synthetic things to make my aura look more purple. I don't dye my aura in purple so that it shows up on the camera. I don't care. All of us will come to this. I don't care anymore about the profound words. I don't care about the special effects. That gold, generally, you can't not have a beautiful aura and it not represent something in here. What I'm saying, though, some people are born and they might have a really special gift, but still be hateful people. And some hateful people might reach heaven before those others because of humility, not because of the color of their aura. Pure, humble humility. When the last shall be first and the first shall be last. Those who were almost completely enlightened but think they're better than anybody else shall be last. Those who were saying, I don't know about any of that. I only know that I'm working on my addictions. I'm working on this and that. And it's profound because I love people more than I ever have. You're rising. The last shall be first. It's amazing. It's not the garment you wear. It's not the magical things that you were told this is going to get you into heaven or whatever. It's just be nice. Live kindness. It's all called love because kindness is an expression of love. So is affection. Whether it's for a wounded animal or just a beloved animal. It could be a friend, a partner, whatever. Just random acts of kindness. Those should be the natural phenomenon that you're seeing related to a raising consciousness. It's not just Kundalini, but still understand Kundalini's real. But don't believe any teacher or book that tells you you should force it upwards. I'm telling you, be careful what you ask for. Because once Kali starts rising, man, it's not because she is bad, okay? She and bad, no. It's because if you're not ready and you're trying to force Kundalini up, the very idea that you're impatient or that you're arrogant enough to want to have instant enlightenment is going to be some of the hits she takes. It's going to be some of the blood she drains from your being because she's saying, hey, no, This isn't real. You can have a beautiful Kundalini experience, and it's sort of overseen. It's all the Divine Mother, but it's overseen by the Divine Mother, maybe in the form of Devi or Durga, some other form, Saraswati, whatever, of deities, of guidance, of energies, of even angels. But try to force it or have it get activated, even an accident. Falling on your butt can actually prematurely activate that center. With the blow to the tailbone sacrum, it can actually force an energy in the Kunda gland to surge and awaken. So some people have had it through accidents like that. But please, any work you're doing or working on other people, give the work to the Divine Mother. Well, what if I've already started raising Kundalini? I can feel it here, and I wanted it to go the rest of the way. What do I do now? Give it to the Mother. If she says, honey, I love you, but you're one chakra too high for your actual consciousness, let me just take it down a notch, and you say, your will be done. It's good. She's going to take care of you. She might say, actually, I'll take you up a notch or two. Leave it to her. She knows you do not. Your best teacher and yogi does not know as well as the Holy Spirit what you're ready for. A yogi's going to be better off than, a video on how to raise your Kundalini. I'm not saying there's no good material out there on the video. I'm just saying that a yogi's with you and can walk you through that if they're really, really enlightened and they understand it. But nothing can beat calling on the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit of God. Whether it's healing work you're doing and you want to activate it to another level, go to the Divine Mother. She's in charge of it all anyway. So even when you go to, for lack of a better term, lesser beings, even when you go to lesser beings, you're tempting them to be your God. Go to the Divine Mother, and if she wants to use a deceased relative to whisper advice in your ear, she will. If she wants Kali to come to you, she will. Leave everything to the Holy Spirit. Does that make sense? She knows. And some of us don't realize it. In our weird religious sexist behaviors, beliefs, we have a weird block to believing in the Divine Mother. Well, wait, what about Father? It doesn't matter. They all get the same memo, man. They just triplicate, the memos to Jesus, Father, Mother. They're all, that's God, but they're not creator gods, and they're not lesser beings. They're not astral beings. Even ascended masters, because that's one of the requests here, even ascended masters serve the Holy Spirit. The ascended masters, because you're asking about the role of ascended masters in the Aquarian age, the ascended masters are, and I'll start closing. The ascended masters and angels are all hanging out, following the guidance of the Mother. They're not following your advice, your request. They're doing the will of God. Your angels don't rush to do your will. They get feedback. You might think it's them helping you out, but they always check with God on this. They're asking for money, God, and God's like, yeah, I know. They always ask for that. Give them the ending of a relationship. And the angels are like, okay, wings flapping. They're going to hate us. God's going, I know they hate me too. We don't care, do we? Because we're objective. Give them the end of a relationship. What does that have to do with? Well, don't question the Lord. But what ends up happening is the end of a relationship, you start working on yourself, you get healthier, and it changes your financial status because you're a better person. Make sense? So quite beautiful if you think about it. And the ascended masters are saying, we're here to serve God. That's how they became ascended masters. But the ascended masters refer to Jesus as the master of masters. So even they acknowledge his role being unique. So in the coming age, beings that are ascended masters, but also some of us, not all of us, some of us are going to also, even if you haven't been stamped ascended masters, some of us are going to be there with the coming age to help people through. It's like if you go on a tour and there's, or an accident on the street for that matter, and a policeman says, could you help us move traffic? Just stand here and wave the cars on. Perfect. That's what's going to happen with the likes of you, some of us, and ascended masters. We're going to be given a role. A Hopi elder once said to me, when this all goes down, and it is happening now, the end as we know it, going into a new dimension. But what's going to happen is when it finally flips like the critical mass point, the I Ching calls it critical mass, but when we switch over, critical mass, 100th monkey theory, when you go into that switch over, some people will not be able to handle the frequency change and they will pass away. That's not bad, and it might look bad because it might involve catastrophes. Some have to die to live again because of their beliefs, not karma, not God. They have to exit the body old to attain a new body that'll exist, because you need a new body. You need a fifth dimensional body to live in a fifth dimensional world. Three-dimensional bodies don't make sense in a 5D world. So some people will pass away. A good number will pass away. Another number will not pass away, but they will go into a sleep. And while asleep, the masters will work on them to change the frequency of their body and allow it to become more ethereal. And there's a third group, the ones that I said, like the ascended masters and some of you. You will neither go to sleep nor die to come back. You will simply translate right to it. And the translating doesn't mean, look at me. If you really get it, it's how can I help? That's what comes out of the mouths of those that are the highest. How can I be helpful? Well, do you see those people that are, their eyes are closed? Some of them are dead, yes, but some are in a sleep. Spirit will be saying to you, what we need, they're going to be waking up soon. And when they do, the world as they knew it, knew it once, it's not there anymore. They're going to wake up and there's no Disneyland. There's no retirement. There's no gold watch. It's all gone. And what was there that could even be perceived still would be images of destruction. You're going to rebuild, and we have some helpers. Some light beings from higher dimensions, Arcturians and others, if you want to get really trippy for a moment. It's going to be, some of them are going to come in and help, some higher dimensional light beings. They're going to be helping. That's even in the Edgar Cayce readings. And he's talking about there's going to be these saucer-shaped ships that will be on Earth helping mankind rebuild. You, the master, ascended masters, higher dimensional beings, all of this is going to be rebuilding a new world. Sadly, it's because an old world has to die. But it doesn't have to be sad. We should be celebrating the movement into the new world, not mourning the loss of the old world. Wow. Can I hear an amen? Yes, it's Jesus. Yes. Okay, so that's it. Isn't that beautiful? You're not wrong for mourning the old world. To a degree, that's sympathy, compassion, and for others. I think that's beautiful, but not to obsess on it. I know that hurt, but guess where we're going? That should be the focus, the new world. And we're all going to, we all have a chance to play a part in that new world. It's up to us. What role do you want to play? Do you really need to die to come back to life? Or would you just need to fall asleep and come back? Wow. Yeah, something just downloading there. So have you been experiencing more, like when you take a nap, even a deep sleep all through the night, but have you had any meditations or sleep-like experiences like where you feel like you've come back and you're not in the world right now, you can't identify? Have you felt that? That is some of this retranslation going on, some of your rewiring. Now, when that happens to me, it's a trip, because I'm like, I'm walking through my house, but I don't feel like I'm walking through my house. You feel what I'm saying there? And if you're having that, that means you're being rewired. And that's good news. But it still feels weird, because it's not like you can go out to get your mail and see the mailman and go, yeah, I just had this real trippy thing. I'm coming out here to get the mail, but I don't really feel like I'm out here getting the mail. And you're not really here. Isn't that true? It's going to be like, close that little door and then drive off, So the bummer is It's not easy to find someone to talk to about that. But if you yourself say, you can count on me, then more people can accidentally or purposely find you to talk to you about it. Now you're already helping them in the translation that I said. Ascended masters will be helping, and light beings will be helping with that translation. And you're already doing it. You didn't have to wait for some grandiose ceremony. You just start now. Let yourself be light workers, or step it up to one more, which is Daughters of Heaven. Check out the website for Daughters of Heaven. We have a conference once a year gathering Daughters of Heaven. And it's like light workers, but just far more dedication to the mother. And there's a book in the bookstore on that topic, but that's it. I'm ready for that whole new life. I pray that I've covered as much as possible of the 8,000 things you asked me to cover. Thank you. Thank you. Let's take a moment to center in. We'll spend a few minutes in a prayer meditation, and then we'll do our closing prayer. But for a moment, soak in the experience. It looks like it's a room with chairs, bodies, and a talk. But what if it's more? What if this is a multi-dimensional experience? And I assure you it is. Then let's do something with that. That means there was a frequency in the room that was ignited, not just in this room, in the room of anybody watching. Because there is no time, distance, and all that. So somebody watching 5 years from now could still be included in this frequency. There is something happening here. And I, meaning any one of you, am a part of this. It is not an accident that I'm hearing this talk. It can't be. There's no such thing. God designed me to be here, yes, but you chose to listen. So you're one of what they used to call the few. Because everyone is called, but only a few choose to listen. Today I listen. I'm here. Wow. From the who I sat by to the opening song, Salisbury Hill, Peter Gabriel, that was just chosen a little while ago. And I didn't know consciously it was going to tie so much into the talk today. I hadn't even asked yet what we were going to talk about. Perfect. Keep my things, they've come to take me home. I'm part of the translation from the third old world to the new world. And the new world is a symbol of greater version of God's will. God wants us not only to have a good life in the 3D world, a better one in the 5D world, and a perfect one in heaven. Feel that. Allow that. Allow that to take shape in your consciousness, in your mind. And the more I center into this consciousness, I just choose love. That's it. Yes, it's also frequencies and Shakti and fancy words and Kundalini, but it's also just love. I say just, but it's everything. But that's what's really happening. How do I become an ascended master? Love. How do I heal my old issues? Love. Love in the form of patience, love in the form of being of service. It's not grandiose, energetic things that you have to wear. Be nice, be loving, be forgiving, but be humble and be of service. And then you are as God in this world. Imagine for just a minute. Listen to the tones and the feeling of the music, or the vibes in the room. This is, as far as we know, for right now, the closest we can get to heaven. Believe that, but also embellish, fill it, brighten it. Let it be fanned into a greater flame. So just imagine, what if God's will, God's love is right here, right now, in my heart and soul? It calls Shakti to rise gently and slowly upward, to meet you in your heart. That's fairly safe for her to rise and meet you in your heart. For her to rise further, leave it further to God, to reach into your heart and bring her up the rest of the way. But at least in our humble selves, we can let Shakti gently rise to our hearts. Because right now we're choosing love, which means Shakti can rise to the place of love, our hearts. Feel that for a half a minute more. Absolute love in my heart. Believe in nothing else. Even if it's just for a few minutes, believe in nothing else. Pure love is in my heart. Nobody brought up whether you deserve it. Nobody brought up race, gender, age. Perfect love has no interest in fear, judgments, opinions. Perfect love. I can love everyone. In this state, I can love everyone. Wow. Affirm that you exclude nobody, not a single person or thing. Not a germ, not a virus, not a dead thing, not cruelty. Sending love to all of it so that all the previous reflection, the old world, the reflections of the 3D can go. And then Shakti can energetically dance a different dance and bring in a different experience. Do you feel you can do that? Do you feel like you're ready to hold that energy in this world? If so, repeat quietly in your mind, and so it is, meaning, I get it, I'm done, I got it, this is good, I'm owning it. And after you have that moment of owning it, one deep breath in and exhale out. Nice and vivid. Good. Stand in place, please. All kinds of metaphysical topics we could go into, but we're going to use one simple, mundane one. I want you to imagine that the person next to you is either a Democrat or a Republican, whichever one you dislike the most, or that it could be either one. Turn to somebody and imagine that's their party, their support, their system, and hug them for a moment. Find someone to hug. That's okay. Yep. You can. Yep. There you go. Yes. Yes. Can you do it? Can you love the Republicans and the Democrats? Can you? Love them. Great. Listen, people on planet Earth, all people throughout the world, people online. Nope. No party duality allowed here. Nope. We don't buy it. But we invite all of you, insane people on the planet, that think yours is right, theirs is wrong. It's a lie. Love everyone. And if we need to, half of us can walk up the street protesting and saying, I love Democrats. The other half of us, I love Republicans. Let the people in Sedona see us hugging each other. They're going to think, These people have lost their minds. Would you be interested in something like that? Oh, cool. Let's have a holy rally. Right? Would you do it? Okay. All right, team members, make notes. We're going to do this. But we won't invite any Democrats or Republicans. I'm kidding. It's the religious people we won't invite. Kidding. We want to invite everyone that's willing to set it all aside. Wouldn't that be a trip? Little Sedona, a little town, a spiritual center in Little Sedona is going to be the first group, church center, anything that thinks to try this. Just to like, no, we don't buy it. Let's love. That's sad that more people haven't, but let's start it. What the heck? All right, please have a seat. We're going to lead into our closing prayer. First, let's please be generous with our love offerings. People online, there's a button you can click to make a donation. Be as generous as you can be. We greatly appreciate it. Oh, what have we started? Isn't that a trip? Yes. Wow. We can even work on other groups that people resent. We can serve iced tea at the rally. Wouldn't that be funny? I'm just saying. We love iced tea. Oh, anyway. God, that'd be great. Why not? Let's shake it up, man. Kali. Let's be Kali and shake things up a little. Shiva, let's just cut away illusions, Anyway. So get your love offering, hold it to your heart. They go in the purple bags if you're in the room in person. The purple bags, your donations. The baskets are for any extra donations you can share, which we extend to people of lesser means or sometimes special projects. On that note, before I forget, I must tell you that we have two projects. One, we have to finish raising funds. It's about $1,000 for us to revamp which is not that much considering it's a sprinkler fire system. We need to get that upgraded. It's about $1,000. But the front doors, there's mechanisms there that are getting older and they lock you out sometimes. They're screwed up a little bit, but that's $4,000. The metal hardware on those two doors, $4,000. Yes. So, but we love them too. So we need to raise about $5,000 immediately. So if you have the means, thank you so much. And at very least, send a prayer that it's manifesting because we believe that. All right, your love offering to your heart. Together, please, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you. Beautiful. Can anybody share what they learned or heard today that made the most sense or that seems the most impactful to you? Yes?
Through our meditation, as we were lifting up,
Mm-hmm.
I experienced the Ark of the Covenant of
Oh.
our crown and what's coming down into activating through the Ark.
Nice. An activate, like a vision of the Ark of the Covenant. Nice, nice. You see that movie, Ark, what do they call it? The Raiders of the Lost Ark. They had the Ark of the Covenant. But notice how when people that weren't ready for the consciousness tried to open it and use it, they all got fried. That's a very accurate metaphor of what happened with the Ark of the Covenant that the Israelites were in charge of. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
When my mom was passing, she, weeks before, she kept saying that I want to go home, and we were in her home, and so I feel like that was a rewiring.
Absolutely. Your mom was passing and she was sort of channeling, expressing the feeling, I want to go home. And there she went. Yes. Yes, one more.
Really enjoyed the expanded explanation version of all the Kundalini.
So yeah, to share about Kundalini and so forth. Was that okay? Everybody good with that? Oh, cool. Okay. All right. Anyone else? We're good? Please stand for our closing prayer. Did you have your hand up?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let go, let God.
Let go, let God. Right? Let go, let God. Please stand. Thanks for sharing the political hug. Because the hug turned it into being not political. But isn't that a cool, novel concept that we, like, yeah, let's do that. And then we might even manifest it out there. Okay? 100-something of you are saying, yes, we want more than 3 or 4 to show up. All right? All right, that'll be interesting. Why not? Yeah. Right? You can all wear Renaissance-y clothes and flowers in your hair. And cool. Ah. Breathing in a sense of gratitude. We speak affirmatively with confidence that the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. Absolutely. Peace be with all of you. Thank you.